Welcome to Your Wish Fulfilled. This is a manifestation podcast to focus on feeling that you've already attained what you want right now with good vibrations, because the vibrations is really the most important thing in our life, because how we feel in our being is the tone, like the frequency, the sound. It's like the soundtrack to our life. You know, if you have awful music playing in the background all the time, it'll drive you mad. If we have negative feelings going on, it wrecks our life. So when we feel good, when we feel settled, when we feel content, then everything else seems a lot better. I was thinking today about how we are heroes in our own journey through life. You are a hero in your own story, in the great game of life. You are the protagonist. And if you've watched many movies, which most of us have, right? Because we live in a movie-based content culture, right? There's lots of fascinating movies around. I recently watched the second one, Dune movie. I normally don't like anything that's too violent, but I make exceptions for epic movies. The scale of it. And after I came out of the movie theatre, there's this, you might have this experience where you come out, so you go into this experience in the movie theatre, it's really intense, right? For 2 hours or whatever it is. And then you come out and all of a sudden everything's light. You know, I normally watch movies in like 3 o'clock in the afternoon because there's not many people there. So it's still light when I get out. And then I'm like, whoa, this is intense. It's like coming into your own movie. You get out of the movie theatre and you walk out and you are in the movie. And then you walk through the doors into the sun. And there's a very magical few moments that lasts for about 3, 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? So I was watching Dune, the second one, and it was just in time for me to watch the sunset. So I drove to the place where I could watch the sunset and the epic red rocks in Sedona. It's kind of a little bit like some of the Dune epic landscapes. And just having that feeling of spaciousness and vastness, and that all of us are playing our part on this great game of life. And we're here to experience and to enjoy and to create. And so when you think of it that way, imagine your life has a soundtrack, right? Imagine there's a soundtrack to your life. And what you're doing is being recorded. And because you're an actor, right, we can act however we want. We can be happier if we want to. We can be more miserable. We can change our accent, right? We can wear different clothes. We can wear a hat. I mean, you can do what you want, right? There's loads of options. Like, we are acting in life. And part of the great game of manifestation and creating things is realizing that we can act in new ways. We can decide to do things a bit differently. We can decide to shift it up a bit. We can decide to try stuff out, right? We don't have to be stuck in the same character all the time. We can change it. And as we change our attitude, as we change what we do, as we make these adjustments, then we can have a different life, a better life, a life that we want. One of the things that often holds people back from manifesting what they want is because they're so attached to the character that they are playing. And that character isn't capable of having this great life. So if I'm acting in a very limited way, and I do this and I only like this and I don't do this and I wouldn't do this and I couldn't do this, but what I want is this totally different life, it's literally impossible, because if I'm stuck in this little world, how can I get into this bigger world? I have to become a bigger character. I have to change my awareness in order to be the sort of person that can create and enjoy that life. So first thing is being. How are we being? Or what's our internal feeling? Who do we see ourselves as internally? What kind of person? What is our awareness of who we are? Then from there, from our identity is doing, we act differently. And then finally is having. So being is first. How are we being? What are we being? Then we do, we act based on that. And then whatever we start to be and do creates a change in our attitude, in our awareness. I've talked to so many people, so many of my students who say things like, oh, I want to do a podcast, right? Oh, I want to do a podcast. And then I ask them, 6 months later, how's your podcast going? Oh, I didn't do it. So, I haven't got the right mic. It's like, come on, people, really. But what's really going on is, if we don't see ourselves as someone who creates content internally, if our being isn't, I am that sort of person, then our doing won't represent that, and then our having won't come to pass either. So when we're not doing the things we want to do, it's because we're not being what we want to be. And how do we change our beingness? We need to see ourselves in our mind, our self-image, our self-identity. See yourself as a hero in your life, an activated being who can choose what you do. Isn't it wonderful, right? There's a big world. This whole thing is a massive stage. And here we are. In the great game, right? This is it. This is it. We can choose to be different. We can choose to try things out. We can choose to expand our consciousness. So what would you like to be? Who would you like to become? What would it feel like to be the hero of your life? You already are. We constantly are the protagonist in our life, the main actor. And we can choose to expand it and become a higher version of ourselves. Release the attachment we have to having to be a certain way. If we think, oh, I could never do that, I can never do, why not? Why not? You could do all sorts of things. You are a remarkable being. So I just wanted to share that with you while it was fresh on my heart, fresh in my mind. Imagine yourself going through life with a soundtrack, and you are the main character, because you are. How can you create a remarkable life? When you imagine what you're doing like you're watching a movie of what's happening, just imagine it like with a wide screen with a soundtrack behind it. You can imagine making your coffee or your tea in the morning, and there's just music and the soundtrack, right? And the nice colors, right? It makes life more amusing and more interesting. And then what are you here for? Why are you here? What's the purpose of your life? So sending you lots of love and blessings, good wishes. Hope you're doing great. Hope everything's all right. And may it continue to get better and better and better for you. Knowing that you are on a deeper level, on a spiritual level, you are safe and secure. Pure consciousness, and we're acting in the world, right? And when we look back on our life, we're going to say, did I really live? Did I really live? Or was I just playing it safe and sort of holding myself, in imaginary shackles, trapped and locked up in a little world, a little box? Or are we going to smash all that stuff up and say, no, let me enjoy my life and let me go to the next level. Let me try stuff out. Thank you for your wonderful presence. Keep smiling. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much.